introduce Dr. Falk Amelung.
Okay, thank you very much, Curtis. It started with this, what of course all of you are aware of. The Champlain Tower South collapsed, and after that everybody was thinking, at least in our community, what can we do? I'm normally studying disasters anyway. Natural disasters clearly attracted me, and so we are using the satellite technique. The satellite technique can measure deformation at volcanoes, for earthquakes, try to understand tectonics, and so what we were wondering is, would we be able to see some precursory displacement at this collapse site? Would it have been possible to forecast that something is going wrong? And then the other question is, could the geology play a role? Of course, we all know, well, we're on a barrier island, I'm going to come to that later. We are on limestone, and limestone could have some particular properties. In limestone you get caves, so you can get holes, it can dissolve. This is an example of our data, a so-called interferogram. It's the combination of two satellite images which were taken at a couple of days apart. Okay, so now to the results of our study. We looked at a 7-year time period. We had a total of 220 or so images. Most of this, what we see here in this, is green. Green means no displacement. But then there's quite a lot of blue dots, and this blue dots is subsidence. At a rate averaged something like 0.5 centimeters. But of course, over a long time, it's going to be significant. So I'm going to go through that in some detail. So we saw the subsidence happening in particular at the high rises. Some of these 35 buildings. This is northern Sunny Isles Beach. We have something similar in central Sunny Isles Beach, so particularly in Sunny Isles Beach, Bal Harbour and Surfside. And then if we come down here to Miami Beach, there's actually pretty little. It's all green. There's a couple of blue dots. One of them is L'Atelier, and then right here the Faena House or hotel. I'm not sure whether it is.
We're safe, right?
For now, we are safe. Okay. Yeah. 100,000 years, it will have gone down.
All right, well, that'll be the next question when you're done.
So this is 1 centimeter or something like that per a total over 7 years. So it's really not very much. When the whole building goes down, it doesn't really matter very much because the whole building goes down. And when these high rises are constructed, they are taken into account. And the big ones, okay, the developers don't talk about it, but they can go up to 30 centimeters. That has been observed. But it's taken in account into a design. If you get differential subsidence, a little bit more, then that can cause problems. Not if it is 1 or 2 centimeters, but if it goes to 10 centimeters, that can cause problems. It's not going to collapse, but you can start getting cracks. We see the subsidence not only at new structures, also at old structures. These are the structures which were built before 2010. This is the amount of average velocity, something like 0.5 centimeter to 2 centimeter or so. It doesn't make too much a difference. So we do see it at old buildings. So what about the Surfside, the Champlain Tower South? We do have data for that. Some persistent scatterers on top of the roof. We don't see any signal. It was really surprising because we know the 87 tower, just south of it, there was heavy construction going on while it was built. So we really would have expected to see some subsidence related to that, but we don't see it. While the 87th tower itself, it has some blue dots. It is subsiding, not very fast, but it does. With the satellite technique, we can't really observe everything. We can observe the rooftop. In the case of Champlain Tower South, we know there were cracks on the pool deck, and we're looking from the other side. We don't have any data for the relevant part. Where else do we have subsidence or settlement? Actually, quite a lot. We haven't studied it in detail. In downtown Miami, there's a significant, lots of blue dots. The problem is here it is really difficult to find out the blue dot to which building it represents. So should we be worried? These high-rises are built very strong. Example of a foundation here, even if you get 1 or 2 centimeters of differential settlement, differential movement, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so there was quite some coverage. So yeah, one example, Miami Beach under the water. So that's going to take, with the rates what we saw, 20,000 years.
Is there a timeline for when we need to be concerned at these? I don't know, are you concerned about the rate or the extensive amount of subsidence?
So I think,
how long of, but they're talking about sinking property values. I think that's the major concern in this room. Is there a reason to worry about these buildings anytime soon?
if you have the whole building going down, if there's no differential subsidence, then there is not going to be much effect, except you're going to be underwater a little bit faster. It's not only sea level rise, it's also going down. So in the rates, what we have is something like over the 50-year time scale, if there is differential subsidence, then that can cause problems. If you start getting cracks, fix it so that
you might be covered with seawater before your building sinks into the earth, I think is according to the sea rise projections. But
yeah, so the subsidence, what we see up to now is same rate at sea level, at sea level rise. So if a building was constructed, a new one, expecting still be there in 2200, okay, maybe that's going to shorten the time.
The reporter who wrote this, Denise Harubi, is working on a story about some sensors, almost like seismic sensors that somebody's going to, I think one building has already installed them to detect if anything is going on that's worrisome. Is that a step that people should be taking?
It's possible, yes. And then you, if some construction is nearby, you can measure how much vibration.
Okay.
If you really know what is at depth, if you have lots of sand at depth, then try to find an engineer. Okay, can we do something? What is the solution? We haven't talked about solutions at all.
Right.
That's not my field. But you might be able to grout it. And,
you mean pumping underground to strengthen the
pumping, yeah, okay. Something like concrete, but what is more fluid, what flows easier, but that could be a solution. But we don't really know exactly we're just speculating about the reasons.
Yeah, and I think one of the things about this story is, if not for Surfside, I think this study would appear, and maybe some smart reporter would find it and it would run in the inside of the paper, but there's just heightened scrutiny, heightened awareness, heightened concern because of that building collapse, even though it was not directly tied to this. So when we were writing this story, we were very cognizant, tried very hard not to be alarmist, because I don't think there's anything in these findings that is immediately alarming. I think researchers like to say, we need more research. Is that the case?
Absolutely. So what we need to do, the main thing, one important thing is what we need to do is we need to drill, get a sediment core, hopefully from one of those buildings where there's significant subsidence, and then look, is there really sand? And how does the sand behave if you put it on a shake table and shake, for example? Does it really compact? That would be very useful. Just comparing the coastal structures with something high rises a little bit further inland will also be useful. But in all cases, we do need the geotechnical information, and we don't have it. The city has it. If the city would really develop a database, the city is having all kinds of geographical information online. If they were having for the high rises, this geotechnical reports online, or this information how many sand layers there are, that would be very valuable. So if you had that, then we could really make big progress.
Yeah, and I would think that if some of these communities do take another look at how adjacent buildings are constructed and take a look at things like vibrations, which cause other damage as well. I think if I lived there, I would be happy to see kind of tighter regulation on what was going on next door to my building.
I want to thank Professor, I want to thank Curtis, and I want to thank all of you. I think in summary, your investments are safe. Now, if you pass it down to your kids, you might want to give them a little bit of advice to watch that a little closer. That said, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you all for joining us tonight.